The shifting sand in Faux Cap in the southern tip of Madagascar blankets everything. It's threatening livelihoods and burying homes and buildings. This was the police station. And this, the local government office, now so covered we're able to stand on its roof. The phenomenon known here as Tiumina, or red storm, has been dramatically changing this Indian Ocean coastline, ravaging crops and stifling development. The people here have been hit by a long drought, but also fierce winds, which often halt the fishing, which is one of the main sources of income. Henri Claude, the head of the village, hasn't been out on the water for more than a week now. Some of the brave or the desperate opt for other methods, but it can be dangerous and often fruitless. Henri Claude shows us the rows of sisal trees the villagers planted to try to restore this degraded land and rescue the ecosystem. It's a long-term strategy with the greenest of weapons. How worried are you that even more of the village is going to be buried in sand? Many of them are just plain scared, not just of the future, but the here and now. We're afraid of living here, he says, and many people are leaving. They're afraid of the invasion by the dunes, and we just can't get investment here. The violent winds blow off roofs and make a living that's already hard even harder. And there are signs many of the villagers have already abandoned their homes and been forced to move on. So they're turning to other ways to survive. And by the look of this market, Madagascar's forests are being plundered and sold at an alarming rate. The main thing that's being sold at this market is wood, with only 15% of the population with access to electricity. They've had to turn to chopping down trees just to generate their own fuel. They also make charcoal, which they then go on to sell, just to try to eke out a living every day. But all this has added to large-scale deforestation, with Madagascar losing 40% of its forests since the 1950s. We don't have anything to eat. We don't have anything to drink. We cut the wood because of the kere, he says. Kere is what the Malagasy call the drought that brings hunger. Cassie will be lucky if she sells any of her sweet potatoes. She'll maybe make 2,000 ariary, about $50, but she has 7 other children, as well as her baby. It's hard, she says. I'll spend half on water and half on rice for the baby. The others won't eat today. And right now, Madagascar is burning away its future to get through the present, racking up one of the highest rates of deforestation in any tropical country. That's put its ecosystem at risk, destroying its habitat and putting the vast range of unique wildlife it's home to in great danger. We spotted an extremely rare radiated tortoise out in the open and lifted it away from the road. It's critically endangered and only found here in the south of Madagascar, but it's being killed for its meat or captured by poachers at such a rate that conservationists warn it could disappear from the wild forever within 20 years. These creatures are now very much at risk because the situation is so critical in Madagascar that they fetch a huge price on the black market. And if any of these are smuggled to order, usually out to the Far Eastern markets, they can raise thousands and thousands of dollars. But if caught, you face a very stiff prison sentence. The people of this island are among the poorest in the world, yet the country has an abundance of natural riches, with more than 100 different species of lemur living in the wild, for instance. And the island so large, it's more than double the size of Britain, that there are different but equally serious problems across the nation, as we found when we travelled here into the forest on the eastern coast. This is a protected forest, but there are so many more areas of Madagascar which are being destroyed. It's incredible to think that there are hundreds and hundreds of species here in Madagascar that you will not find anywhere else in the world. And many conservationists believe that they are now in danger. Sinji's been travelling through this forest for 2 decades. He's never seen it so bad.
It's not good, the change. The change coming hot, high, hot, and dry. Dry. And the rain coming, if they come, rain too much, no stop, and flood everywhere.
The Malagasy government has so many tough challenges, and weaning its population off its dependence on coal and wood is just one of them. And right now, for so many here, raiding the nation's natural resources is seen as the only way to survive. Alex Crawford, Sky News in the Grand Sud region of Madagascar.